Hello, this is Father Dustin from St. George in DeKalb, Illinois. It seems like with the coronavirus going around and everyone in isolation that going online and streaming is the thing to do. So I thought I too would try it and see how it works. I know some people may be getting cabin fever, some people are anxious, perhaps you're a little worried, but I want to give you a little encouragement, especially now when churches are closed and we can't make it out of our own homes sometimes. So I want to give you a little encouragement and tell you the story of St. Zosimas. Now you may know him from the story of St. Mary of Egypt, and we'll celebrate her in a few weeks. But the story starts with St. Zosimas. And he was a monk in Palestine, just outside Caesarea. And when he was in his 50s, he thought to himself, aha, I've reached a state of perfection. There's no further monastic ascetic practice I can do. I've perfected everything. Well, of course, we realize this as hubris, as ego. And so an angel of the Lord appeared to this saint and said, I want you to go down into the desert in Jordan and go to a monastery there. And there you will see how there's many different ways of obtaining salvation, and you'll learn from those monks. And so St. Zosimas, eager to learn about another way of salvation, another path, went down there and was obedient. Now, in this monastery, they had a practice. What they would do is on the first Sunday of Lent, they would all gather and they would receive communion at the Divine Liturgy. And then afterwards, they would gather for lunch, eat their lunch, and then go and have one more service in the afternoon, probably Forgiveness Vespers, just like we did here at St. George. Then they would gather all the food they needed for themselves, and they would go out into the desert, each in their own direction. And there they would stay in the desert, away from church, without communion, without the sacraments, for 40 days. And they would come back together for Holy Week and Pascha. But during that time, they didn't have access to church. The way they drew closer to God was through hezekia, that is, silence. We may know it as the Jesus prayer, as stillness, through prayer. And they didn't have the church, they didn't have that sort of sustenance while they were out in the desert. But yet it was there in that desert that they drew near to God, that they were able to find the silence that they needed to see and hear Him. And so I encourage you, maybe we can't get to church the next few weeks because of the coronavirus, but we can all pray in our own homes. We can all experience a little bit of this hezekia, this silence, this stillness, and we can draw near to God in this way. And just like God showed St. Zosimas that this is a path to salvation, for us too, this isolation, especially during this time of Lent, when quietness and stillness is highly encouraged, we too can draw near to God through this. I'll post some links below to daily services you can do in your own home if you would like to do that. And of course, your prayer books or scripture reading or those sorts of things can also sustain you in this time. So God bless you. If you need anything, please let me know. If you need groceries or medicine or anything like that delivered, I can pick it up and deliver it to you. Just let me know. May God bless you and give you strength during this time of the Great Fast.